Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pod Maverick. I am Kirk Henderson, joined tonight by Mavs Moneyball regular contributor Isaac of Mavs. Isaac, how are you?
Good. Can't believe we wasted 10 extra minutes on that game, but I'm good. How you doing?
I mean, and realistically, it was an extra hour. Like, we were supposed to be in here an hour ago. The Mavericks fell to the Los Angeles Clippers 133 to 127 in a game that I had sort of dubbed in my brain the Sadness Bowl, because the Clippers were 3-9. Both teams were very stinky is the answer to this, but heading into the game. And the Mavericks needed a win. The Clippers apparently needed one more. They had lost 6 in a row heading into this one, and were just sort of staring down the barrel of a gun, because I didn't realize this. They're basically, I think they are the oldest team in NBA history by average age.
Yep. Oldest in the league this year by far.
35.4, which is really, that's an incredible, like, that's hard to do. It was really something. And so we're watching this game. And so just for full disclosure, for the first half of the game, I was at a high school football game. So I had it on my phone. I'm watching on my phone. And at one point, the Mavericks were down double digits in the first quarter again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching, and then I tune back in, and the game is tied. What the shit happened in the you know what stretch I'm talking about? What was going on there?
Are you talking about, because they came back to tie it up a couple of times? You talking about in the second half or in the first half?
First half, because I was only kind of tangentially paying attention in the first half because of where I was.
Gotcha. There were a lot of things, but the main thing is Clay, for about 10 minutes there, decided he remembered how to shoot a basketball again. I think he had 4 threes in the first half, and I was like, oh, we're getting back to this? And then Cooper had a couple of nice finishes. Brandon Williams had a good stretch. Cisse has turned into a fan favorite. You know, he had some good minutes. And this was a game that I had marked on my calendar for a completely different reason, because I don't know if you remember, right after we lost to the Spurs in the opener, there was that advanced stat that went viral where it was like, if the Mavericks were to play like this for the rest of the season, they're on pace to win 1.7 games.
I do remember that.
And the Clippers were on pace to win like 1.9. And so I was like, oh, we've got the 2 worst teams in NBA history on a crash course. I'm ready to see it. And sure enough, tonight was an example of 2 teams that are not good at basketball. Like, it was hard to watch at times.
So I did a video this morning. The pace of the Clippers were dead last in the league in pace by like a significant margin, and there were apparently, like, I'm reading some of the box score and like the like the group stats right now. Like, the fact that the Clippers finished with 22 fast break points feels kind of ridiculous when you consider the pace of it all. But did you, like, how did they do tonight? Like, did you find them playing a slower game? Because I mean, I watched all the fourth quarter, the first and second overtime, and it, like, the game slowed down a little bit, but that was like intentional. It wasn't like they were walking the ball up. Like, it felt like kind of a normal NBA game to me.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, how old is James Harden? 36, 37,
he's
something
old.
like that.
Yes.
So he's leading the offense, and he's obviously not running and gunning anymore. You've got Bogdanovic killing us from behind the arc. He's not a run and gun guy. You've got Zubac, who's going to bang with you in the post, but he's not sprinting up and down the court. So it was just a death by 1,000 cuts type of game, except the Clippers never pulled away. It was the Mavs were keeping them close enough.
Well, it felt like a 6 to 8 point lead forever. That's what I was watching, where it's like I would look down and it would be, like 61 to 79 or to 69. Sorry, my dogs are having a moment. They'll stop here. They're also old, and
they also hate this.
Right. And it was just sort of one of those things where it looked like the Mavericks could not get over the hump. And, we settle into the fourth quarter. Guys, stop barking. We settle into the fourth quarter, and I was really shocked that the Mavericks were able to pull it all the way back and actually, I mean, they looked really solid during that. Like, I'm glad the game went into overtime. I'm frustrated they lost. But this is the second time, no, really the third time in 3 straight games where they've put up a lot of fight late, and they just don't have the juice. And one more made shot. Like if Cooper Flagg is involved in the offense at any point, maybe things are different. Like there's a lot I think we could and should talk about here. But the fourth quarter, you get into it, they get over. Overtime was pretty evident. I thought that Gafford had a chance to tip it in at the end, and then the overtime number 1 and 2, it was just a slog, and that's It was kind of they were throwing really big punches at one another, and finally the Mavericks broke. That was what I experienced, at least.
Well, and it's just like, no disrespect to D'Angelo Russell, but when you're running your fourth quarter offense through D'Angelo Russell isolation ball, you kind of have a ceiling of how good you're going to be.
What's a gambling experience? He
did really good tonight, but
he did really good until he did really bad. And that's the D'Angelo experience in a nutshell, where, it's kind of like going on a gambling heater where you've got to know when enough is enough. And he guided them into the overtime. And quite frankly, he was the reason that they were there. Like, we got to give him credit. But then you get into you get into like the middle of the first overtime, and he just ran out of gas. I mean, he's not the only one.
And he can't handle a trap consistently. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised the Clippers waited as long as they did to trap him, because once they did, our offense came to a standstill.
God, the minutes on this game are incredible.
Najee Marshall, career high. Never played this many minutes in the game.
47 minutes. Cooper Flagg led the Mavericks with 47 minutes and 39 seconds. So keep in mind,
still only had 14 shot attempts?
13. And one free throw attempt. He was a negative 15 in this game, which his plus minus is kind of the story for the year. And then, we'll talk kind of about individual things in the second half of the show, I think, a little more here. But this was just, it's one of these games where I think if I'm passionately involved, and a lot of our fans still really are. I mean, look at the folks in the chat here. They're just kind of irritated by it all. It's that I'm starting to question what Jason Kidd is doing. Before the Nico Harrison firing, I and a lot of the people who are watching this team closely were kind of wondering if he was tanking this team too to get Harrison the fuck out. Like, some of the things he was doing were insane. But now Nico Harrison's gone, and he's still doing kind of like what is happening minutes here. I don't know how to explain it. Looking through this, how did Derek Lively play tonight? He was back for the first time in 12,000 years. And what did you think of his performance tonight?
I mean, he looked like a guy that hasn't played in, to your word, 12,000 years. I mean, he was fine. There were a lot of people that I saw reacting on social media and in our game chat that thought he was really bad. I didn't think he was awful. I think he was just rusty. It was, when Gafford came back, he didn't look great his first game, and that wasn't an indictment on him. It's just, you can only do so much practicing. You can't simulate NBA game action, no matter how hard you try.
I did watch him, that clip. It would have been the coolest play of the year had he finished the dunk.
Oh my! The Showtime clip
that was such a cool. Because I think it might have been Najee made a cross court pass to Brandon Williams on the right wing. Brandon Williams takes one dribble in and lobs it off the glass to Lively, who bricked it so badly. I think he got fouled.
But it was a loud brick.
That was really something. And of course, Lively having to go back in his first game against Zubac is really I just sort of question kind of question that decision. Shout out to the additional fouls that Lively have here. Oh, he had 0 fouls. That's incredible.
No, he was all right. Yeah, he didn't get in foul trouble, but he also didn't play a lot. So
this is Cam Ryder BRX in the chat says Lively can't screen again, and now he has 0 hook shot. Yeah, I think the offensive rhythm stuff will take a while for him to get back into, because he was looking real nice for a few games, and it's just, I don't know. It's definitely one of those. So, all right, the Mavericks now fall to, what is their stinking record? They must be
3-10.
Oh my! I mean, we're getting into some territory here, because it's already their worst season since 2016-17, and I got to figure out how bad. Let's see, 2016 and 17. They started off the regular season. At one point, they were 3. At one point, they were 2-13. So the Mavericks have they were 5. Like they won their 6th game of the year on December 12th. And things started to normalize a bit. So the Mavericks have a way, like they're in that conversation, but I don't know. I feel like they're right there in some senses where they just need to get that monkey off their back, so to speak. And I think maybe because it's like if PJ Washington plays tonight, do they win this game? I think so too. I think so too. What was the final read with his shoulder? Because I know it's an injury. Did they ever discuss it on the broadcast or anything that you heard?
I didn't hear it. I wasn't watching the broadcast super closely. I don't mute it, but I know
what you mean.
Game without like listening to them too much. But no, he was on the bench and he looked fine. But then again, Kyrie looks fine, and obviously he's not fine. So it's hard to tell.
Some of the practice stuff from Kyrie lately is like making me wonder, and it's just it's really something.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like this team, like on the one hand, they're 3-10, and on the one hand, there are stretches where they look just so bad. But then there are other stretches where it's like, if we just had a guy that could consistently go get a bucket, I don't think we'd be that bad. Like, I think we could compete for a play-in or a playoff spot if that's the path they want to go. I don't know if we're tanking or not. I don't know. But
because where they lose these games, in my opinion, it's like they scored 12 points in the first 9 minutes of this basketball game.
Yeah.
And that's where they spend so much energy getting back into games that they're having the fact that they run out in these situations isn't super surprising to me. Go ahead. Sorry, you look like you're about to say something.
No, I was just agreeing with you. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what you do about that because tonight was a really rough Brandon Williams scoring game, and I think that as far as early action, if they're going to start him, if he's going to be in the scoring guy early, and if he's not connecting on anything, then I don't know. Particularly with PJ out, you're looking at the lineup. They don't feel super comfortable going to flag. Apparently, very often they just don't draw things up for him. And yeah, offensive droughts are common, says Mavs Hives Mind. And like that's really the sort of Achilles heel of the way this team was built is it's like in not to be glib about it, but we're stuck with the team that we have for now. If you're building a defense first team, you at least have to appreciate the offense. And if Kyrie was healthy, Kyrie's that I can go get you a bucket guy, but they just don't have anybody now. And I would really like it. If they found a way to go to flag. Like I don't love flag isolations. He's done a really good job with these like game to go bucket situations. The past several ones he's scored. He looks good. The defense just can't, get a stop when it really matters. But at the same time, I'm just like I don't know. It shouldn't be this hard to get points for that long. Like Kid does know what he's doing. They need to break glass in case of emergency earlier. They can't keep getting in these holes.
And I'm just worried that, we're talking about the Kyrie practice clips and they look, promising, I guess. But I just remember I got into a spat with somebody on Twitter over the summer because they were Nico Harrison is saying that Kyrie could be back before Christmas. And it's like, I bet you everything on my wallet he's not going to be back before Christmas because
he's not coming back.
Couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I'd hope not. But it's like if they're desperate enough, I don't know what this front office is going to do. I hope that now that they've moved on from Nico, that they've accepted that this is not a year where you rush your injury-prone guys back. Right. But I don't know. A little concerning.
Goodness. All right. It's about 15 minutes in. Let's take a quick break here. The 3 ways to support Pod Maverick are very simple. Number 1, there are links in the show, and I pin them in the comments for the live show if you are at all interested. That's one way you can directly support us. You can indirectly support us by actually listening to the ads. That helps us. And the third way to support Pod Maverick is very easy. We grow the show by telling our friends. and families and loved ones and enemies. Really anybody that you want to talk about Mavericks with, I would like for you to share with them this show. We are a pragmatic show that hates and loves this team in equal measure. We are staffed by Josh and Isaac's pitching in here, but we also have a team at Mavs Moneyball that shows up on here. And I promise you, of the 20 people that we have that are in the site, we have such conflicting opinions, and it's fun to tune in here on now and again, because if we all discussed basketball the same, that wouldn't be any fun. All right, I'm going to insert the ads and stop babbling. I'll be right back with Isaac and a few more comments about the Mavs. Okay, thank you for waiting through the ads. Please subscribe to the show if you haven't already, and remember, hang out after Isaac and I are done for group therapy, where if you have any takes that you want to get off, I am interested in them. I gotta say, I was pretty impressed for my second straight game with Daniel Gafford's defensive fight. Zubac kind of chewed him up, but that's like Zubac's like one of those guys that's designed to beat the crap out of him. And 8 defensive boards. He's not a good defensive rebounder. It's the thing Josh and I complain about all the time. He had a game saving block at the end. Was that at the end of overtime 1?
Yes.
Which we got to watch the like NBA IQ, like let's recreate this in the Matrix shot thing. That's pretty cool. I kind of liked it. And really a good use of why you want to do that, because I think like letting people rule on that in real time and like being right or wrong is pretty infuriating. If you can go to something like that, like they did with Gafford, that was pretty neat. So just wanted to shout out Gafford's effort there. Who else would you like to talk about while we're here?
I mean, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but I love Cisse's. I hope I'm saying his last name right.
Musa Cisse, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love what he brings to this team. He's so raw offensively that sometimes his offensive possessions look kind of rough. But his defense and his instincts on that end of the floor are just – he changes the game. And he's, in his 10th NBA game, 9th game this season. And he is already making a difference against one of the better big man tandems in the NBA.
He's just tough, man. Like he is tough. He's an entry. The Mavericks. If you're to like list off the Mavericks centers, you got Anthony Davis, whether he wants to play center or not, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. I think 3 very different types of center. Mm-hmm. And then Cisse is a very different 4th type of center, because he's just. He plays, as Josh pointed out to me. Josh gave me homework after one of the games where he effectively said, just watch how hard he runs. And, do you remember Lively doing that to Chet during the
running away from the foul?
Yes. And like running hard every play as an offensive big man is a skill, because over 48 minutes, it wears guys out. I'm kind of surprised Kid didn't go to him a little more often. But yeah, it was something.
I think he's in like a kind of awkward position where Cisse can only play 50 games this year because of the type of contract he's on. And I wonder if Kid's like, well, if we start depending on this guy too much, what are we going to do in March when he reaches his number of games and we can't play him anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's particularly if they move on from any of these bigs, you're just going to need to slot. And a lot of guys, I've been getting questions where it's like, oh, the Mavericks need to sign him to a full season contract. I'm like, they can't. Like they're capped. So
gotta love the new CBA.
Right. They're going to have to figure something out as the year goes on. He's really and what's interesting is I saw him at Summer League and he did nothing for me. Yeah.
Summer League is such a hard, like, indicator of talent or not talent.
Sure.
Because you've got guys there that are fighting for their NBA lives and they're chopping the games up, which isn't a bad thing, but it makes for basketball that's not very fun to watch unless you are a nerd like we are.
I think that's right. But the things that he's doing now would qualify like entirely under like little things to a coach. Where, he's doing dirty work stuff. He's actually catching the ball. Like he had some like goofy stuff happening at Summer League where it's like the game was almost too fast for him. And the fact that the NBA games aren't too fast for him is really something. Like he looks right at home. I really liked watching him the other night against Giannis. That was a lot of fun. This one I didn't get to see very many of his minutes. So that was something.
Yeah. I was like, how many minutes did he even have? Because they were trying to split between Lively and Gafford. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We briefly mentioned Najee Marshall's minutes, where he topped out at 47, but he was effectively the player of the game. He had 28 points. He was being 3 of 5 from 3 is pretty funny to me because I don't. You could count the number of threes he's made this season on one hand. Like he was a bricklayer. He didn't hit any. Yeah. He didn't hit any the month of October. Like 0 3-pointers. And before tonight, he had 1, 2, 3, 6. 8. He's had 8 threes this season. And really, that's very funny. He is now 5 of his last 8 from 3 from 3
There we go. 60% 3-point shooter Najee Marshall. Tell your friends.
We will take that, the Najee Marshall respecter. Because I mean, that's really it. Like you go look, the Mavericks 3-point shooting as a team has been so collectively horrid. They need something to break their direction. How did they do tonight as a team? What did they do here?
It felt like at times they were better, but
10 of 36 is really bad.
Yeah, never mind. There were stretches where they looked good.
Clay was 4 of 10. And so it's like if you back out Clay, that's 6 of 26. And what is that? What is that percentage wise? That is 23%.
I can't believe he was 4 of 10 because he started out like 3 of 5, I think. So that means he ended
Cooper's 0 of 3, Brandon Williams 0 of 5, D'Angelo Russell 0 of 6. Like come on, guys. It's so maddening. What else do you think we should hit on here? Because I'm kind of cooked brain wise. Do you have any bigger picture takes that you've been noodling with over the past couple of days?
Well, I do have a quick question, and then we'll get to some bigger take questions. Do you think Daniel Gafford is worth $20 million a year? We were talking about that in the watch party.
I have zero idea. I think NBA contracts are so baffling at this point in time that I don't have a good assessment for what a good contract is. I think that his extension, if I'm understanding it correctly, doesn't actually kick in until next year.
Correct.
So right now he's making $14 million. Mm-hmm. I think by the end of his contract that will look like too much money. I think for where the NBA is right now, it's just fine. He's fine.
Well, you also have to think about it. By the end of his contract, the NBA salary cap will have gone up another 4 times.
Maybe.
So
I'm not,
lower
it's
percentage.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. The NBA money is always really dicey. Like they've been really off in their projections, but I think your overall assessment is correct that the cap will go up and his percentage will be good. Yeah.
Do you think that they should start, for lack of a better word, forcing it to Cooper Flag? Because I personally would like these games more if Cooper Flag had like offensive possessions that looked kind of wonky. Because at least that means they're getting him the ball.
I have a hard time with this because I fucking hate the dribble handoff offense. Like I just hate it. It's a lot of motions and sound and fury signifying nothing. So where I want to see him get the ball is wing pick and rolls with Lively. I don't want to see him get the ball 4 feet beyond the arc. Like
absolutely not.
What are we doing? Like him standing in the corner does nothing for his game.
Right. Like I want to see him catch the ball in the post. Like, post sounds like I'm
can we do this? Can we do the stuff that they were like force feeding Anthony Davis when Anthony Davis was healthy? Like I'm not talking like, 8 possessions a game. I want to see it once a quarter. Like it's just not too much. Like 13 shots in 47 minutes is it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
He's your franchise cornerstone. He needs to have more shots. I don't care if he shoots 4 of 20. And if they do, that's a problem. He's 18. He can have bad shooting nights.
So I'm not sure if you caught this conversation, but in our Slack yesterday, Jack and a couple of other people were talking about the kind of shots Cooper Flag is taking. And Cooper Flag on catch and shoot is remarkably bad. which is very funny to me. Very fun. Like you would think that a standstill jumper is better for a shooter. And this just shows you that he's still developing offensively and has a long ways to go. But he hasn't made a corner three. He's like he's 0 for 11, I think is where he is. At least that was before tonight. But on dribble pull-ups, he's like kind of remarkably good. And so there's just things that he's doing that are very funny. And we're just going to need to play out the string more.
And he's just so in his head. Like there was a play near the either end of the third or start of the fourth where there was a loose ball. I forget who deflected it or whatnot, but he caught it with like a second left on the shot clock. And his feet are facing towards the Maverick bench. And he just kind of like turns and just flings it at the basket.
Right.
And it was probably his best shot of the entire season. Like mechanics and everything. It went in. It didn't look awkward because he didn't have time to think about it. He had to catch and put it up towards the basket. So many of his shots, it's almost like you're watching the gears turn in his head. And it's like, dude, just shoot it. If you miss it, next shot mentality. It's amazing.
Like there was an overtime turnover where he had the ball in the center of the floor and he passed to no one thinking D'Lo was going to be there. Like that's where he's just overthinking some of this stuff.
Yeah, and then one of the last possessions of the game where, they're down 6, they're not going to win anyway, so it's not going to get a lot of attention, but he catches the ball in the corner and just drops it. Batum just takes it out of his hands, and I'm like, guys, these are not mistakes that NBA players should be making.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I very much and the fact that they're in these clutch time games, I think is a lot of learning opportunity for him. The fact that they have gone to him in these like really clutch situations is interesting. But let's also go to him within the flow of the offseason. Oh, this is a good. I've had 2 good questions so far that I want to save. So shout out to at MFFL Nation. Letter grade for Cooper's season so far. I like that question because I have no fucking idea.
I think I have to qualify that question. It's like compared to other rookies, compared to where I thought he would be, like what are we doing here?
So I'll give you my answer. I just needed to think on this for a second. I think I would give it a B and could be talked into a B+. His finishing from game 1 to game 13, if you're worried about his finishing early on, don't be.
Right.
Don't be. Look at the finishing he's had. Like the one over Giannis is, I can't believe they didn't fucking, go with a highlight reel there. We spend so much time talking about his offense, which kind of frustrates me because his calling card 3 years ago, when it was clear he was going to be a top 5 NBA draft pick, was defense. We don't get to talk about his defense. He had a block off the glass tonight that made me laugh out loud. It's like, okay, this guy's just mean. And if once the Mavericks figure out some of their defensive issues, if they even can, we're going to start to see that. He is I called him a xenomorph. Like he's like in the movie Alien, he just fucking appears sometimes. So there's spurts where it's like, okay, this is so awesome. And so that's why I think I could be talked into the B+. Chum says he had some really good defensive stands against Harden too. Yes. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot to like, but I think you have to be looking for it, and it doesn't stand out. Like, YouTuber Mavs Digest posted this really lengthy comment about how from somebody talking about how like boring and bad Cooper is, and I'm just like, I don't like to tell people they're stupid, but in that case, if that person said that to me, I would say you're stupid. Like sorry. So
no, and it's just people like to box score hunt so much, and they want to look at like his shooting percentages, like we've talked about. His offensive game is not where we want it to be. He's also 18.
Right.
Like, and I think everyone knows his age, but I don't think people actually understand like what his age means.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about Luka's rookie season and how like he came into the league ready to dominate. Luka was a year older than him when he entered the league. And so it's like, if you want to, which you shouldn't, don't do this, but if you want to compare Cooper to Luka, you can't even do it yet.
No.
You'd have to compare his last year at Real Madrid if you want to do that. Like, you can't compare their NBA careers yet because Cooper Flag is still 365 days younger. And it's like, yeah, he has offensive possessions where he looks awkward. Okay. He also has defensive possessions where he jumps so high, you don't even comprehend how he blocked the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he's so far above the apex. You're like, well, he had to have blocked it because it didn't go in, but I don't know how he blocked it. Like, his defensive instincts are just so good, and you can't teach that. You can teach a shot. You can teach offensive spacing. You cannot teach defensive instinct.
Right.
And the hunt to go find the guy with the ball and take it from him.
Yeah.
And he has that gene, and I really like that. So I would probably say B+. I could be talked into a low A, honestly.
Sure. I mean, we'll probably do some quarterly adjacent stuff once they get to 20 games, but it's fun to start talking about this sort of thing because the shift to Cooper has been real. We got one more question I want to answer, and then we will head. And there's another good question from MFL. I'll star this and talk about it during group therapy, so you can get on with your evening because it's already 11:30. I thought this was a good one. Did you watch Dirk's kind of soliloquy for?
I did.
What'd you think?
I mean, you know the article I wrote a few days ago where I made the argument for Dirk as GM, and everyone called me crazy, and I was.
I mean, Michelle Beadle made the same argument on their show.
Really?
Like they were like her and Boogie Cousins and who's our Chandler Parsons. I almost called him who's our other chubby white guy. That was actually the first.
Who's our other media representative?
Right. But what's funny to me, number one, is if you followed Dirk for long enough, in 2001 he couldn't speak English good enough or in 2000 he couldn't speak English good enough. Then he got into a controversy calling Utah a bad city.
Yeah.
And now he's out here speaking really quite eloquently and effectively shutting every other pundit the fuck up that had a pro Nico stance, of which there were many, and it bothers me a great deal. But he just he said the trade was awful, didn't make sense, and the Mavericks needed to get out from underneath it. Real simple. Loved it.
Yeah. And I liked that he wasn't like, I feel like so many people in the media, for whatever reason, are like afraid to come out with their honest opinions of like a long-term future for the Mavs. And I'm like, why can't you just say this trade put them in a worse position? Like, why are you so afraid to say those words?
Yeah.
Even if Anthony Davis was fully healthy, we are still in a worse position long-term.
I mean, if Luka Doncic was with the team right now, we would be having and if they hadn't won a title, we would be having conversations about what do they do because they don't have assets.
Right.
Like the really sorry, Ash Boying with a comment that's killing me because yes, I was at that game. I left at 31-0. The whole deal of what's going on right now, we were going to have a salary cap discussion. Like, it was coming. The NBA salary cap has forced this. So the fact that we are where we are now, where it's just there aren't a lot of control. There isn't any control over draft picks past this year. They don't have any second round picks. Just that whole element of the cupboard is bare and the decisions that the Mavericks were going to have to make. That's why Nico said he had a 3 to 4 year future, because he's like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. He was very honest. That's the part that's so amazing. He's sitting there
literally said our future is screwed. We might be good in the next 3 years, but we're screwed long term. Like,
and it's so incredible to hear him say that, and there being no local introspection, like zero. Right. And that's where I get critical of some of my peers who do this for a job, where it's like they've done a bad, like, if it is what it is. It's anyway. I like the question about Dirk. This is good stuff. We're at this point, we've somehow gone too long. I'm going to let Isaac get back to his evening. We're going to host our second show here in a second. So if you're in the chat, I'm going to cut to our music for 40 seconds, but please hang out. And then I want you to join the show if you have questions. Isaac, thank you so much for joining. This has been great.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. Have a good night, y'all.
All right. Have a good night and go Mavs. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Group Therapy. I am Kirk Henderson, and you are here. If you're still here, it's our secondary live show where you can participate. I posted the StreamYard in the chat. Real easy to join in, whether you have a phone, whether you have a computer. You can show your face or you don't have to. Doesn't really matter. But if you want to talk basketball instead of arguing on Twitter or Reddit or texting with your friends, this is the place to be. Got a very good question right before the end of the last show from at MFFL Nation saying, what is your favorite mock AD trade so far? So this is a great runway for me to talk about something that I wanted to specifically talk about. Number one, you must understand about me is that I am like the anti-Dalton Trigg and that I suck at trades, like absolutely suck at trades. I have this question comes down to what do I think AD's value is, because I am just there was a story that broke today from Brett Siegel that effectively said that the Lakers were done with AD by like December, right around the same time, honestly, that Nico Harrison decided he was done with Luka. And the Lakers were very frustrated with him because he apparently showed up to their camp fat and showed up to their camp out of shape and then complained about wanting to play power forward. So I find, like, when I know that and I rolled into how I already feel about Anthony Davis, which is that I just think he's a guy that's coasting on his 2020 resume where he shot 40% from three in an open gym. He's a heinous shooter. But he doesn't affect the game on defense near like he ought to. Like, I'm just very low on him. That's why part of why I thought the trade was so stinking awful. He has 20 game stretches every season and you can just go find them. You can find him in the Lakers. Like, he was very good for like 15 games. Then he was ass, then he was hurt. He's out, whatever. Those games are what people remember. They don't remember the games where he shoots 7 of 18 and plays 22 minutes because he gets a boo-boo and goes bye-bye. Like, people don't remember that because not enough of us are watching games game in and game out. And he never was able to take over from 47-year-old LeBron James. He was always the second tier. So to go back to the question, my favorite mock trade is whatever mock trade gets us the most draft assets. If we could snooker the Chicago Bulls into whatever player make the salary work and a first round pick, give me it right now. Right stinking now. If they can get a 2026 draft pick, bingo. If they can get a 2027 draft pick, gimme. I don't care. Do whatever it takes to get draft picks. Draft picks are how NBA teams are built. The best NBA teams. The Mavericks were an outlier. Getting to the finals the way they did, they're an outlier. The best NBA teams that have won the title going back to like 2021 on are the teams that have drafted well for a long time. And that's where I sit. So MFFL Nation, thank you so much. That is a very good question. We got Ash Boying waiting to talk. If anybody else wants to talk, just again, it's in the comments. It is this StreamYard link. I'll post it again. Very easy to join. And that's just sort of where I sit. Evening. How are you?
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining the show again.
Well, I read a very interesting article today
I want to hear about it. Tell me.
The development of a basketball team, and they use the Thunder as a model, obviously. Um, it's more along the lines of you should heavily invest in player development. Like
Yes.
Jalen Williams was a 35% three-point shooter in college, but now he's a 43% three-point shooter in the NBA because Oklahoma City saw in him, Sam Presti saw in him the fact that he could drive, and that with the right coaching, with a really good shooting coach, which Oklahoma City has, he could become a very effective three-point shooter. And so what they did is they decided they were going to build around Shea, and Shea being the best driver in the game. How do we open the lane for him? Okay, well, we get guys that can drive, so you have to respect them. So you know, you can't pack the lane because you get guys that can shoot and can drive. So that opens up a lot of space in the lane. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that the Mavericks should invest heavily in development. Like letting Shamgod go, who was kind of the dribbling king of the NBA, was probably not the best move in the world because you need a lot of you need ball handling. Okay.
Yes.
And when Rick Carlisle was here, it seemed to me that guys would come into Dallas and immediately shoot 4 points better than they shot elsewhere from
Yes.
three. And I don't know who the shooting coach was at that time, whether Rick actually took a big part in it, but those are the kind of moves you need to make because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a lot of draft assets, so you got 18 darts to throw at the board because four of them are going to hit, but none of them are going to hit if you don't have the right infrastructure to develop young players.
Yes.
And then that's part of the problem here with the Mavericks organization. And then you've got to invest heavily in your training staff, and you probably have to start using some of these new methods to minimize injuries and maximize health.
Yes.
So those are the areas that the Mavericks have fallen down on. I can't remember where that article was, but it was a really interesting read.
Well, if you find a means to get it to me, because I would like to read that, because I am a huge game development. Like I love the concept of how these guys grow. Like the way Dorian Finney-Smith grew as a Maverick was so interesting to me because he was so bad when they first brought him in. And now he's a true testament to player development over time. There's a Thunder player I'm thinking of who has been unbelievable this year. I can't remember his name, but he was like one of their. Yes. It's just like NBA players are capable of growth. You have to put them in the right situation, but they're capable of it. So it's sometimes I think that it's like makes me wonder what sometimes guys aren't, like Josh Green just wasn't capable of getting very much better. Like he just wasn't. Jaden Hardy,
but you did see him take a big leap in shooting, kind of the way Max Christie has this year. I'm wondering where that's coming from. I mean,
yes,
honestly.
I mean, Christie was pretty good coming in. Like the Lakers were pretty pissed to lose him,
right?
Because he had really started to find something.
I'd like to know who his shooting coach is because he's done a really good job with him in the offseason.
Right, because it's just like, to me, it's like repetitions over time. It's like getting into the batting cages and just going nuts, right?
Yeah, I guess, but some guys have a broken shot. Some guys, it just seems to me that I don't know. He's just shooting with more confidence this year.
Yes,
does that make sense? I mean,
it does. No, his shot really, and even compared to the preseason, because in the preseason we were having folks in here that were like, "Nope, get this guy off my team." And he's rounded out in a nice way. I like it.
Yeah, and so what I would do if I were the Mavericks is, if you're going to have Finley and McCarty, run the team for the rest of the year, tell one of them, okay, you're going to do the player side here, and then tell the other one, all right, I want you to develop an infrastructure, okay, for player development and injury prevention, and so do it that way, and quite frankly, I don't really care about wins and losses this season more than I care about watching some of these guys develop.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just me. But I like the fact that they're sticking the ball in Cooper's hands in late game situations. That's going to pay big dividends down the road in 2 to 3 years. Okay,
yeah, I agree with that.
I like the fact that I'd like to see more Max Christie. I'd like them to force feed some more Max Christie shots. I want to see him take on maybe a 11 to 12 shot roll. Shots a game roll instead of 8. Okay.
Yep.
Emphasize the guys that you're going to be going forward with rather than the guys that might win you a few more games, but you're not going to be going forward with them.
I think that's true. I mean, it's I mean, what I don't understand is like how there hasn't been any emphasis in film sessions or game things where it's like D'Angelo Russell gets in there, and you can see this in the advanced stats numbers, particularly if you have cleaning the glass data. D'Angelo Russell gets in there, and the numbers with him and Cooper Flag are atrocious. Like, oh no, like world is over, atrocious. So,
but they're still better than when Cooper's playing point.
Yes, they are. That's true. I think that's an interesting point. So I don't know. I find myself kind of frustrated.
But the numbers with him and Brandon Williams are really good.
Yes, they are. And tonight, Brandon Williams was so bad. I wonder what those numbers will look like. But it's something. I don't know.
Well, you notice Cooper had a bad game until like fourth quarter. So
I'm curious about that. Like, did he have a bad game or was he uninvolved? What is your opinion there?
Well, my opinion was Geyer had a really good running game, and I didn't get to see the first game.
What happened in the Geyer game? Because I learned tonight that my guys, when I went over to Coppell, basically got a great draw in the playoffs because Geyer got put in the other 6A division playoffs.
Right. Well, yeah, they're on opposite ends of the bracket, but Geyer won like 40 rip, so it was never really a game. So
okay, that makes sense.
So,
sometimes that happens.
Well, the first round it is going to happen. I mean, Coppell's a really good team. Okay, they just happen to hit a better team when they played Geyer that night.
That happens.
Otherwise, they're a really good team, and I don't see why they can't make it at least.
So you missed that. So you and I could talk about this half the time. So that's okay. So you missed the kind of first half the way I did, where I kept looking down on my phone. I was watching because I do the playback, and then all of a sudden, the Mavericks were tied, and Clay just went on an absolute scorcher. It seems to be what the answer was to get them back in the game.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'm going to let you go because you got other guys waiting, I'm sure, but I appreciate you and keep going to Friday night games, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I really love it. Like, I just can't emphasize this enough to people in the Dallas area. Like, if you want to do something different on a fall Friday night, go to a friggin' high school football game. It's so much fun.
Well, they are a lot of fun, and since my son graduated, I don't have to go to Geyer games anymore. I go to the best game of the week. So,
man, I wish I would have gone to because we were talking that Louisville Allen game looked like just a barn burner. Oh, anyway, I'm sure people that are like listening from Slovenia are like, "What in the hell are you two talking about?" So, okay, we'll talk soon. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, man of the hour, Brian wrote the recap from Mavs Moneyball. What's going on, brother?
Yep.
How's it going?
A second.
Sure. Figure out his audio here.
Okay.
It's the best whenever.
Still gonna do the same stupid thing from before.
It's just probably with the headphones.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me. I just can't hear you.
You can't hear us.
That's wonderful. I wonder why that is. Yeah, I hate doing this from my phone.
I'm sorry. Do you want to give us your take? Wonder if you can see it in the chat.
I can't hear what you said.
Can you see the comments? Can you this is just best top tier audio. Wonder if you can see the comments at all. It's very funny. Wonder if I'll have to boot you and try again.
I'm checking my setting. Oh wait, audio. Hold on. Speaker, mic. Oh, I think I can hear you now.
What about now?
There we go.
Okay. Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
Okay. So I was late getting up here because I was busy,
Oh,
as
you're
you know,
writing, yeah.
writing the recap. Yeah. Excuse me. Man, what an awful game for like 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters almost. And then it finally started to pick up a little bit. Very odd Cooper Flag usage and uninvolvement in the offense. It ended up being a bit fun towards the end. I guess Clay found some offense, which was cool. And D'Lo did as well, which was cool. They were making shots. That's nice. Which led to D'Lo inevitably D'Loing himself at the end of the game and having all his teammates looking at him, wondering what the hell that last attempt was. And yeah, it was a bit of fun. Najee was in there doing things. He also had 28 points. Derrick Jones Jr. looks athletic as ever, which is crazy because how old is that dude now?
Yes.
He's like in his 30s, and yeah, he still looks crazy. He still looks like the best athlete on their team or ours. So good for him. But yeah, no, that game was fun. Although I'd much rather just talk about what you have on the screen here, as far as like your favorite AD mock trade.
Well, no, that's fine because I mean, like Isaac and I talked about the game for probably 20 minutes, and then we pivoted to some questions from people. He had some takes that he wanted to get off, and I think that we, you know, like at a certain point, first everybody go and read Brian's recap over at Mavs Moneyball. I just published it with some reformatting. You'll see what I did, and then I will direct you to go read our other recaps. It's he did a very nice job covering the game. It's a tricky one because guys, when you write these games, like what we have to do is we're supposed to have something up within a half hour. And so if you don't write during the game, you end up having to like write 1,000 things really quickly. But when the game goes to double overtime, the overtimes inevitably overshadow the rest of the game. And so if you're just like, let's say you're ready to press, you know, hey, I'm done with my recap, and then they go to overtime, then you just got to write for it's a very frustrating process. So I appreciate you taking part of your Friday night to do this.
Yeah, of course.
What so I'm before you get to your favorite trades, talk to me, the lively point in your recap is I think worth rehashing here. Talk to me about what you saw or rather didn't see.
Yeah, he looked super passive. He was pretty much just kind of getting some cardio out there. Wasn't very involved in the offense. I mean, you know, as much as Derek Lively is going to be involved in your offense, but I didn't see a whole lot from him other than a couple corner kicks out of a short roll, and even then they didn't really involve him there that much, which is surprising considering, you know, this is the time you should be doing it when he's the lone center. That's when he's been the best, at least earlier in the season before he got hurt.
Yep.
They clearly realized, okay, this guy isn't 100%. But apparently they felt like he needed to get out there and get back like fully in game shape and get in the swing of things.
Right.
And he certainly got up and down the court, but did not do a whole lot else. I will say, to his credit, the stretch that led to us tying the game and sending it to overtime started with him on the court. And then Daniel Gafford eventually followed it up to close the quarter. So I'll give him credit at the very least for being out there when things started to turn around. But yeah, it was a nothing burger of a game, and I think that's, like I said in the recap, it's forgettable, and we're gonna forget about it, and we're not gonna care about it if in a week he's back to ball in the way that we used to.
So okay, so you talking about we'll give him a pass for this game. Like bringing him back against Zubac is a little bit annoying. Like I get why it's like you got to get him back, but it's just that's a game for him to get his ass kicked. Right. So I went on about a 3-minute soliloquy before you joined about the AD trade question, favorite mock trade. Oop, I still have that up there. You're right. Shows that I need sometimes I need a producer is the answer to this. Yeah. Because I was editing your show while also talking to Ash Boying. I am a person who does too much at one time. And I just essentially said that my personal value of AD is like through the floor. So I can't tell you what I think a good trade is because I don't see why anyone would trade anything for him. I really don't. It's tough. He might be the most blown up contract in the league because it's just like, you don't know if you're getting games from him.
Well, it's tough just because, like you said, you don't really know the health situation. Now, to his credit, less than a year ago, like a year ago this time, he still looked like top 20 player, top 5 defender in the world beater-ish.
But then what happened? Then what happened?
Well, no, here's the thing. He got hurt for sure. Now, what didn't help that? He got hurt And by the time he got back, he was already here, and he came back too early, trying to save Nico's job. We know that now. Like, that's all but confirmed. And then he came back too early again. Was it twice? I feel like it was 2 times. So he came back too early when he got here, played the 2.5 quarters against Houston, got hurt again, went from oblique to groin. Then he came back too early again in that same season when he clearly was not right yet and was putting off surgery that he very obviously needed to have. But, it was what it was. It was like, I need to get out here and play these games and try to give these fans something to cheer for, which I applaud him for that. But he came back and he was not right, and he looked like a shell of himself. And then he got a procedure and then had a procedure also on his eye over the course of the summer, came in out of shape and got hurt again, and then tried to come back early one more time to try and save Nico's job one last time. So I will give him the pass of, in this very specific way, he's been doing nothing but coming back early from injury since he's been here.
Sure.
So how he looks here, I would, especially in like this particular context with no real playmakers and no real spacing, and them granting his wish of letting him play with another non-shooting big, like all of that really depressing his value. I promise you, when he comes back and Kid is playing him as the lone center, because Kid will play him as the lone center, he has no incentive to play him and Derek Lively together for more than 4 or 5 minutes a game.
Right.
Past this point, now that
by that time, Dan Gafford is going to be dead at the rate that they're expending his energy. That poor guy, he's battling his ass off.
Yeah, he is out there getting the Sonic coins knocked out of him on the defensive boards. But
yeah, that's a good one. Zubac went through his chin a couple of times, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it's like these big bruising guys. Like, as much as Gafford is supposed to be like the muscle and relative to Lively, Gafford goes out there and he gets mauled by these bigger centers, these Zubacs, even like lesser ones like a Nurkic or somebody like that. They really put the pain to him, and that's what happened tonight.
Right.
Thank goodness Cisse was able to come in and spell him and Lively for 14, 15 minutes, I think he played.
Right.
And it looked all right, although he definitely still had a couple of those Cisse, okay, I'm out of position and I'm overexcited, so I'm going to foul, going for the block. Like, he had some of those. But on the whole, his impact since his first game against Houston has been overwhelmingly positive. Like, I'm glad we have that dude on our team.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll take that.
But yeah, the 80 value thing is just, it's a matter of what I said. It's the context is all bad, and then him constantly trying to come back early from injury is not helping it. Now that he has to rest, has no choice but to rest and actually get healthy and actually get in shape before he is allowed to step foot on the court, which is the first good thing Patrick Dumont has done since he's been in charge.
Yes.
He's going to come back. He's going to look better. He's going to be playing better spacing, playing with an actual guard pretty much every minute he's on the court. And we're going to see a bit of a better Anthony Davis. And 3 to 4 weeks of that is a player that someone is going to trade for, no matter how much money he's making, no matter how much money he's going to ask for on an extension. There will be a team that will either trick themselves or convince themselves, okay, we're an Anthony Davis away from maybe not winning a title, but being more competitive than we are, and give up something for that.
Right.
That's how I think about it anyway.
So what's your favorite one then?
Oh, it's the most obvious one of the. So okay, there are. Yeah, it's the most obvious one probably. It's Chicago, 80 straight up for Kobe White, Kevin Huerter, Nikola Vucevic. Get both of their expirings. Get Kobe White in here, and like either a 2026 first round pick from them or a 2027 first round pick. Personally, I think the 2026 draft is probably going to end up being better, but the way people talk about the case of the 27 draft, they're talking about like they're a bunch of bums, and it's just we're too far out to know that for sure.
Yeah.
They do this every couple of years, and other than like the 2013 draft and the 2024 draft, that they're almost never correct when they do that.
But there's also the overhyping of drafts. Like I saw, KOC showed some quote from an executive that said if Cooper Flag hadn't reclassified, he'd be going in this 2026 draft.
Man.
And he might not go top 5, and it's like, go fuck off.
Yeah. I was laughing and complaining about that. Funnily enough, just before the game started, it's like, dude, what are we talking about? You can't like in one breath call him a generational prospect and then say that he wouldn't go top 5 in the draft. By the way, of guys of his peers, dudes who like he got so tired of kicking their asses in high school, he reclassified and went to college a year early because he wanted better comp.
He found a new gym. Like the people don't understand. Like Cooper Flagg put PJ Edgecombe in a body bag like repeatedly.
Yeah, in high school, it was pretty bad.
Edgecombe, and Edgecombe is looking like a super duper star in the making right now. So it's just like everybody's got to relax with Cooper because there's a deal where he's not playing well because the Mavericks suck. You know, there's one big account that was like, oh yeah, the NBA draft got it right. The Cooper Flagg went to the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, I saw that. I had a good laugh out of that. So, but it's like the only one of these guys to even remotely really give it to Coop when they were in high school together was Cam Boozer, and quite frankly, I think he's going to have a much lower ceiling in the league than he does.
Like Cooper Flagg on that Duke team as like a thought exercise, laugh out loud funny. Like they would just mow teams down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I like the Chicago one too. I think the one thing that there's just a misunderstanding about, and this is I think cap based, but also AD based, is that like there's just not a lot of teams that have things that work that way. Like when you make $54 million, your options are limited. You just are. And so it's like that and I heard my friend J. Kyle Mann saying that he honestly thinks that if the Bulls were to be interested in a deal like that, the way AD wants to play would get in the way of how Josh Giddey has been succeeding right now, which I think is true.
I agree. That's why I think if that trade happens, he's not going to get his way when he gets there.
Well, it's just
Josh Giddey is established. Billy Donovan is established.
I mean, this is what I get where it's just like I don't understand how like I try not to do this because I don't want to tell people how to react and how to have fun. But like one thing I don't understand is how we watch basketball and come to these wildly different conclusions. Like, and I mean this not just about fans, but also about Nico Harrison, where it's just how do you undervalue offensive shot creation in today's NBA? And like there are tons of people who are just like, oh well, what Giddey does is not interesting. Somebody said, one of my Sixers friends was talking, or Spike Eskin was talking about how he gets these messages. It's like, well, there's no way Quentin Grimes is not better than Josh Giddey, and it's like, I'm sorry,
I think Quentin Grimes is really good, but what?
Right. It's like I'm sorry. It's like that's where it's just like, what are you watching to come to that conclusion? Like Giddey drives me kind of crazy sometimes, or at least he did before he's gone on this run now. But sometimes it's just the way he didn't fit on the Thunder. That doesn't mean he's bad. It means that to maximize him, you got to figure out somewhere else to go. So
they traded him, and he immediately backpacked Kobe White to like the best 3-month stretch of his career.
Yes,
like he really got started on that team, and they both took off like a light. Modest Buzelis joined them. Now Buzelis is better. Kobe White hasn't even played yet. And they've lost a few games in a row, but they're worlds better than they were last season. Like that's a ridiculous take. I'm sorry.
One of my accounts that follows me, I just noticed this, tweeted an hour ago. D'Lo is winning this game, so Kirk Serious and Bowman have to do an entire episode praising him. You love to see it.
Here's the thing. He was until he wasn't. Until he wasn't. But that was at the very end.
It's got to be so frustrating to watch him and not know when to pull the plug on the D'Angelo Russell experience.
Yeah.
Because it's like when he's good, he's great. When he's bad, he's horrible.
It is awful. It is a business. Yeah.
Well, do you got anything else for us?
I just hope we get more offense ran specifically for Coop. I get we couldn't really do it tonight. And those Coop and D'Lo together on court, that lineup data is going to look even worse and even wonkier going forward now because he had a bit of a, like you said, not bad game, but uninvolved game while D'Lo was cooking. That's just the nature of things. But I hope they take a look at what he was doing early in both overtime periods and then in the fourth quarter where they gave him the ball in the middle of the floor, spaced out, gave him a side of the floor to operate on, cleared it out, let him work against mismatches, let him go against slower wings, and really kind of go to work and get to the paint,
sure,
as opposed to relegating him to a corner shooter. And I think we'll start to see better Klay Thompson games, like we saw today, where he got some easy, clean catches early and things started to fall. We'll see even better Max Christie performances. We'll make things a little bit easier on these guards. So all Brandon Williams has to do is touch paint, keep the ball moving. Derek Lively will have a little space to catch lobs and finish at the paint. Things clear up once we start doing that. So hopefully we get there.
Sorry, my wife's asking me a question.
Yeah.
I know she's watching me like kick like our 9-year-old son, and it's probably like, what is wrong with you? Why are you fidgeting? It is midnight. Really good question, if I'm being honest with. So yeah, all right. The Mavericks play Sunday, an early game, a 6:30 game.
6:30, yeah.
And that is going to be against the Trailblazers, and it's the last of this 4-game homestand. To go, someone pointed out in the Slack earlier, they played 13 games, 9 games at home, and they have won 2 games.
Yeah.
So it's like for anybody that if you're kind of, let's say you're an optimist, I don't think the Mavericks are as bad as they have played. I still don't. I think there's some improvement areas which will happen with this team regardless, injury, whatever. The problem is they've destroyed a margin for error. Like I would be curious to know how many teams that started like this make the playoffs. And the answer just goes down with each loss, like the total no. And so it becomes a situation for the Mavericks where later in the season they play so many away games in a really brutal stretch where they just can't take out of the hole. And I don't know. It's like you don't want to dump on it because it's like, I find talking about specific game instances and things very interesting. And I think that's what we're going to have to do as we go into this, because it's not necessarily fun talking about losses. But I will say the last 3 losses the Mavericks have had, Bucks, Suns, this one, have provided interesting fodder. Like you see real clear shortcomings. Like we're starting, the roster obviously talked about it enough. Kid is now that Nico's not there, the attention is just going to turn to Kid and these coaches. Like you brought in a quality, high caliber coaching staff for this with this talent. Like that's what, you and I talked about this all the time. It's not an untalented team. It's a odd fitting team. And then they assigned like our colleague Tyler likes to call it the run the damn ball offense. And it's
yeah,
fucking hell.
Yeah, the offense is in the I formation all game long, and people are wondering why we can't score like shoot threes.
Right. Okay, well, you go get some sleep. I got to get up in like 7 hours and go to the zoo. That's gonna be
should be fun.
Yeah, it's a nice day. Where you got to Dallasites, you got to soak up these nice warm days before all of a sudden it turns into January and it's just 30 degrees and it's unbearable. Like that's why we watch basketball. Really, are these like December, January, February? Where it's like I'm not leaving my house, or I'm going to the bar and getting liquored up and don't notice the cold. Like that's the real thing. All right, brother. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you as always.
Of course, dude. Have a good night.
All right. Cam207 says, "What's up, Kirk?" Well, we've been talking for an hour and I'm tired now. But if anybody else wants to join in like the next 10 seconds, I'll let you hang out here. Appreciate everybody. We've gotten a lot of support the past several games. And since the Nico trade, people are, there's the PayPal and the Venmo that people are giving, feeling like giving a couple of bucks to. And I appreciate that, sort of thing. Sometimes I feel like we podcast out into the void. But we're going to keep on keeping on because that's what I do. This has been Kirk Henderson. We will see you guys on Sunday. Go Mavs.